and welcome to What She Said. My name is Moira.
I'm Paige.
And I'm Emma.
And we are your hosts for this book club edition of What She Said. Now, we have set ourselves a challenge, and a challenge it is, to read one book per month, all somehow with underlying spicy content. I feel like that was pre-planned. So, if you've only just joined our book club, welcome. Well, where have you been? We have kicked off the year with A Fractured Fairy Tale, Hooked by Emily McIntyre. February saw us discussing Praise by Sarah Kate. And you can find out more about those books and our thoughts on them wherever you get your podcasts or over on YouTube. But March brought us a story from the Bridgerton series. Now, this is words I never ever thought I would hear myself say. I was so excited. The book of choice was...
I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's Paige. Women supporting women. Emma?
I know, right?
Jump on board.
I always take the masculine stance, you know that.
I know, you're
This
such
is
a
true.
dude. The book of choice was An Offer from a Gentleman by Julia Quinn. This is the third book in the Bridgerton series, but the fourth installment on the upcoming series on Netflix. The story is very reminiscent of Cinderella with a Regency makeover, and it follows the romance between Benedict Bridgerton and Sophie Beckett. Sophie Beckett is the illegitimate daughter of the Earl of Penwood. Raised in privilege but never truly accepted. When her father dies, her cruel stepmother, Araminta, reduces her to little more than a servant. Benedict lays eyes on a mysterious woman at his family's masquerade ball. His world is forever changed. He is captivated by her beauty, wit, and charm. But before he can learn her name, she disappears into the night. Years pass, yet Benedict searches for her in every ballroom, every social gathering, yet she remains a phantom of his past. When Benedict stumbles upon a young maid in distress, he feels compelled to help her. There is something familiar about her, though he cannot quite place it. He offers a position as his mother's housemaid, where the undeniable chemistry continues. Benedict wrestles with his feelings between his longing for the masked woman and his growing attraction to the maid before him. But duty and expectation weigh heavily on him. A gentleman of his standing cannot fall in love with a servant, or can he? Torn between life he has always known and the longing in his heart, Benedict must make a choice. But what if the woman he desires is more than she appears to be? What if the one he has been searching for was never lost at all? It's a swoon-worthy, feel-good romance packed with witty banter and charming chaos of the Bridgerton family, and I cannot wait to watch this series on Netflix. So, how did you feel about the Cinderella inspiration of the story?
I fucking hated it, I tell ya. I felt gypped. I was like, yeah, 3 chapters in, I was like, I don't even know if I want to read this because it is just a copyright of a well-known story. It wasn't just a Cinderella story, but I didn't like the beginning, no.
Yeah, I'm sort of along the same lines as you, Em. I do love a good Cinderella story, though. So in the beginning, we've got the introduction of Sophie, and then she disappeared. And it was multitude years later. And I was like, hey, hang on a second. I need to know what happened.
We didn't need to know what happened in those years because that's
I
why it was written
did.
as a Cinderella story.
I did. I needed to know.
Everyone knows that she was the maid and looked after the 2 ugly sisters and the horrible stepmother.
I understand that. But every Cinderella story has a different background, and I needed to know Sophie's.
You got her background, you just didn't know where she was for a couple of years.
Yeah, I needed to know what was happening to her.
Yeah, I agree with you, Emma. I was a little bit disappointed that it didn't give me the Bridgerton flair. I was really looking forward to that Bridgerton flair, and I feel like it was a cop-out to use Cinderella.
I agree with that. But have we read the previous books? No. So we don't even know whether or not the Bridgerton flair is in those books or whether the Bridgerton flair is simply in the series.
Yeah, is the Bridgerton flair Shonda Rhimes or Julia Quinn?
That's right.
Good point.
That's what I said as well. I haven't read the Bridgerton story, so I'm not sure if Netflix have been following the storylines at all.
Yeah.
Or whether they've had artistic expression to create something that's going to be portrayed better on TV.
Do you know what annoyed me, though? How Sophie, who is, in loose terms, Cinderella, when she decided that she was going to leave, obviously her Araminta had cast her out and said, "You've got until the morning, don't be here when I wake up."
Mm-hmm.
Of all the things she's going to steal,
2 clips.
can you not steal silverware?
I know.
Will silverware not have got you further?
It did say that she thought that
They
they were
weren't.
diamonds, but she was locked in the shoe cupboard.
Yeah.
True.
That's right.
She had to get out to pack her bags, though.
Yeah.
After which she decided she was going to run. So,
yeah.
What about candlesticks? Like candlesticks back in the day, they were expensive.
A dress.
I did enjoy the story, apart from being gypped the first few chapters.
Yeah.
But it's been really different to the last 3 seasons that we've seen. So I'm going to be interested whether they portray the story as it's written, because it's completely different.
I've never watched a show or a movie after having read the book.
I watched Twilight after reading the books and 50 Shades. So 50 Shades is what got me into spicy books. So in regards to 50 Shades and the storyline opposed to the books, completely different.
Yeah, right. And
so we'll have to see.
That's where it comes in, the artistic expression or the creative expression.
The underlying tune of the book in regards to 50 Shades was the same, but there was definitely different aspects that were left out.
With the book, like this book, really, it only has one ball. Bridgerton series have been known, that's what they are. It's the courting process of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And this book only has one.
So that's what the show does really well, is that they follow the different storylines of the different characters.
The first season was Daphne.
Yeah.
The second one
Daphne,
was
then
Anthony, and then the third one was Penelope Featherington.
Correct.
And Colin.
Colin. It was Colin.
Book, yep. And this book, it states within it that Colin is currently single and that he would never marry.
Yes, because that episode is installment 4 in the book. I'm
just gonna wonder how they're going to put all this together. So I really don't think it's going to follow the book much at all. I think it'll be more like the Bridgerton series, and I don't know how they're going to portray the differences in classes. I actually think this is me calling it. I think that Sophie is just going to be the Earl's illegitimate child, and she'll just be the ward of the Earl, and I don't think the Earl's actually going to be dead. So I think she'll be going to all these balls as the ward.
I don't think they will.
No, I think they'll follow the story that he dies, because otherwise why would Araminta have such an influence? She couldn't treat her like shit, essentially.
There's many different ways that they could play it.
I'm so excited.
That's what I'm calling. I'm so excited.
They follow the storyline, because I found it so different to any of the others. And yes, I haven't read the books, but we've watched the series. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that this is a difference.
When I was reading about Benedict in the lake at the country cottage, it just reminded me of, was it Mr. Darcy, who came out of the water with his white shirt all see-through and wet? It's given me Pride and Prejudice vibes.
Yeah. No, that was actually one of my favorite parts of the book, that scene.
I think that whole cottage episode was probably my favorite.
Me too. That's well, the foundations of love were formed because he didn't know her. He still had the pining for the lady in silver, but Sophie had cared for him.
So masquerade balls. Have you been to one? No.
I
have been to a masquerade party.
Was it as grand?
No, not really.
I went to the New Year's Eve ball in City Hall one year. It wasn't masquerade though. And the grandeur of that was lovely. The last time I went to a dance where we actually had dance cards, which I think is what I like.
Oh, you had dance cards?
So it was our year 7 graduation. We
Oh,
had
I
dance
love
cards.
that.
We had to do all of the traditional dances. We spent whole term learning them, and then we had to add people to our dance cards for the evening, and we had seven slots.
My
It was
my
so much fun.
gosh.
You little slot.
Seven dances in heaven.
Woo!
I was so much taller than everyone else. It was very awkward.
Do you know what I did at my year 7 dance? The nut bush, the chicken dance, and
That's M&I. That's M&I on a Good Friday night.
Yeah, we got the
and all I
Macarena.
remember, we did some dance to the song of Can't Touch This.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that would be fun. I was going to say, by the time Benedict actually recognized Sophie, which she'd wanted him to do all along, you know, because she had the half the face covered, I was like, thank fuck.
It was a very
That's what I
long,
was gonna
drawn-out process in the book. That brings me to my question. Bear with me.
Oh
Do you think that you could recognize a person
Hold on,
after
hold
the
on.
fact if half of your face was covered?
Well,
I don't know if I'd want to chase someone that looks like that. No offense.
Okay, fine. Rude.
I have to say,
I have an alternative for you.
That's actually marginally better.
You like your pumpkin, don't you?
a little bit of pumpkin spice.
Could you tell? It's me.
No, not at all.
That one, yes. So that's where I suppose it depends on the mask, because I can recognize you more with that mask than I could the other.
Ooh, so there might be some truth to it.
I would have to say that I would probably recognize the person.
I would have thought so.
I'm pretty good with spatial awareness and
Spatial
awareness isn't
awareness.
anything to do with-
hang on, you're not listening.
I know we heard
Spatial
you.
awareness, patterns, and putting an artistic flair on a certain thing. So I would probably be able to recognize the person. You
What's that
laugh
got
at
to do
me
with
and you
spatial
jest.
awareness?
Understanding what's around you.
But
it's the face.
That's
it's
right.
facial recognition, not facial awareness.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's spatial awareness in the fact that you guys laugh at me. You laugh.
No, I get what you're saying. I think that the book says that she'd lost quite a bit of weight. She was curvy initially at the ball, and she was quite thin now from not being fed. Not yeah.
Now, in saying that, putting all of those factors into it, I would agree.
Yeah. I don't blame Benedict. I think it would have been a difficult.
But also, he said that she laughed. Surely her laugh would not have changed.
Something was familiar about her, and that's why he was staring at her. He knew the voice, he knew the laugh, but he didn't put it together because he said that the two worlds were so different. She was a maid, and this other person was a noble woman. In his mind, that would have never happened.
He also alluded to the fact that she did not act like a maid. She had too much education to have been just a simple maid.
So I guess when Benedict suggests keeping Sophie as his mistress instead of marrying her, how did you react? Would you have taken up his offer? Paige, we don't need your answer. We know you would have, you tart. Emma?
So I said, your mum has already said if you are happy, she would support you with whatever choice you made.
But you weren't aware of that as Sophie, if you were Sophie.
I still wouldn't have done it.
You wouldn't have gone as far as what Sophie did?
I would have steadfast to my morals. I'm sorry, look at Moira's face. She does not believe me for a second.
I really don't.
No. When I read it, I felt horrible because she'd already said that she was a bastard child. When I read that, huge lump in my throat, and I felt very emotional.
I did too, actually, Em.
I know that he loved her, but it was just a really hard situation. And I suppose just knowing the way Sophie explains the differences in class like throughout the book, it just made my heart hurt.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And she even said to him, "You've already asked me this. No, I know where my place is. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to be a mistress. That's where I stand." And he just kept on pursuing the fact. The closer he got to the end of the book, he started to understand where she was coming from, but he still pursued her because that's what he wanted as a nobleman and not what she wanted as just the maid.
It's not such a huge thing in this
Yeah.
day and age. And I really did feel for Sophie and all the other women that were mistresses and that were put in that situation, and how many
Well,
bastard
her mum
children.
was. Her
Yeah.
mum was a mistress.
Yes, and actually, a lot of those women who were maids, not necessarily consensually, ended up
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and then were shunned and outcasts and sent to, you know, the nunneries or wherever they were sent to and looked down upon for what they did, because obviously it was their fault that they made
That's
the men
right.
do this. I was sad for her, thinking that her father kind of did her a disservice. He knew what he had done to result in Sophie. He left her with a dowry, but he also left Araminta's 2 daughters with a dowry. So she actually didn't get anything more than what he left the other two.
But also, was he expecting to die?
No.
No.
Exactly. So he probably didn't think any further than, I'm going to see her to be married off.
So would you be his mistress, Emma?
I would like to say no, but with that amount of passion and
your undercarriage says yes.
my undercarriage definitely said yes. I think I would have probably given in, unfortunately. And like, I don't like to think that my moral standards are poor, but they were in love.
They were.
And I don't think she saw any way out of it. And like, it was love from first sight. And that is very rare that you have that strong a connection with somebody. I would just want to spend my life with them, I think.
Nah, I'm not doing it.
Would you guys really not take him up on his offer?
Nah. Look, I don't think I would commit to being a mistress. I think I would enjoy my time with Benedict, but I would be like, you need to find a way around this, man. It's kind of like withholding. Find a way, or it's a no.
Yep, exactly.
That's exactly what happened. Sophie gave him just enough to have a little taste, and remembering that she was a virgin. He'd already had the emotional connection. He was already in love with her, but to have that and then for her to go, no, I'm not going to be your mistress, but I'll give you a little bit of something for you to have a little bit of a taste.
I applaud her for giving him the try before you buy.
Yeah.
Dip your wand into the honey pot, but I will not give you any more.
Yeah. I think he dipped that wand in and around and around.
Oh my
and down
God.
and...
I can't even.
Try before you buy.
So would you have read or enjoyed this book as much if it wasn't a Netflix series?
No.
Because I feel like for me, it was more, I really love the Bridgerton series on Netflix.
Me too.
And I liked the book. But if it wasn't a Bridgerton series, I don't think I would be reading another one.
I'm not really into period pieces. But yeah, I didn't mind the book because it was Bridgeton. But I'd be interested to read the rest of the Bridgerton series just to satisfy my curiosity.
You know, I love a good spicy book. But I do enjoy period romances.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I probably would have read it and taken it at face value. But that's just me because I like spice book.
Which brings me to my next question. On the spicy scale, what are we rating it out of 5? It's getting a measly 0.5 from me.
Oh, same.
I did the same thing. 0.5.
Yep.
We are all 0.5 on the scale.
Yep. It's a capsicum for me. You know what? This book was as spicy as seeing a woman's ankles in 2025. Like, not spicy at all.
I love it. Yes. It tries to be very subtle in its spice, and I
Yeah,
really hope that Shonda doesn't follow in that book's footsteps.
exactly. Spice it up.
Give us some spice, please. So that, I guess, concludes our discussion on the book. But I've got a game. Of course I do.
Ooh.
Now, dearest listeners, it is time once again for a most scandalous game of Two Truths and a Lie.
Oh.
The way I've done this is I have picked 3 statements about Emma, and Paige, you have to guess which one is the lie.
Shut the front door.
Listen, to be honest, Emma will probably not even know which one is the lie.
No.
So technically, you're both playing. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Statement number 1. Miss Emma, ever a champion of justice, once found herself in a foreign land, engaged in a most undignified skirmish with restaurant staff who dared attempt to overcharge her. Within the grace of a duchess, but the precision of a seasoned gambler, she hurled coins at the scoundrels in what one might call a rather unconventional form of negotiation. Statement number 2. In an impressive display of both speed and questionable judgment, our dear Emma once took a country town roundabout at such velocity that her car became momentarily airborne, soaring like a wayward pheasant before landing with a thud mere moments before passing a rather startled elderly gentleman and his canine companion. Statement number 3. In what can only be described as a most unusual acquisition, Miss Emma once found herself the accidental owner of 2 live chickens after a particularly confusing barter at a rural market. With no coop, no plan, and no idea of how to transport them, she resorted to carrying them home in the only vessel available, a cardboard box covered with a fishing net. Remnants of an equally rogue adventure. The chickens, unimpressed by their temporary lodgings, protested loudly, leaving Emma to endure both their squawking and bewildered stares of passers-by. Which one is the lie?
I'm going to say that I can actually see Emma throwing coins at someone. So I'm not going to say that that is a lie. As for being momentarily airborne, I can also see this happening. But I'm weighing on that being a lie because I know that she has chooks, but I don't know how she acquired the chooks. So I'm going to say that her wayward airborne moment where she startled an elderly gentleman and his canine companion is the lie.
Emma,
No.
which one is the lie?
Number 3. That chook.
Good effort, Paige, but nil point. Emma, it's your turn.
Okay.
Oh!
This one is about Paige. It is whispered among well-traveled circles that Miss Paige once set her sights on the high-flying world of Emirates Airlines, hoping to trade in the Sunshine State for the glamour of international skies. Alas, fate had other plans. That was 1. A most amusing spectacle unfolded on a certain girls' weekend in Hobart, where Miss Moira, with determination of a general leading troops into battle, left Miss Page with but 2 options: ride an electric scooter or chase after her on foot. One might say, dear listener, that necessity is the mother of courage, as Page donned her helmet and rode the scooter with poise and elegance of, well, let us say, a newborn foal discovering its legs. Number 3. Ever the unexpected star of the show, Miss Page found herself at the helm of an impromptu cocktail-making masterclass during a certain milestone birthday cruise. The original host, tragically undone by the theatrics of a flaming flamingo cocktail, left our heroine with no choice but to dazzle the crowd herself. a woman of many skills indeed. Which one is the lie?
Ooh. See, I was watching Paige's face. And she's got a pretty good poker face. I think one is a lie.
Number one, Paige, which one's the lie?
No, number 3.
Oh, no, see, I can see you doing that.
Yes, but they won't allow her to. That's the point.
No, they won't let me.
That's three about me, and I would be shocked if you didn't get this right. Number one. It is a little known fact that Lady Moira boasts a most distinguished lineage, being distantly related to the 8th President of Ireland. A touch of nobility in her bloodline, indeed. Number 2. Ever the practical and resourceful woman, Lady Moira's first carriage, acquired for a mere £400, came with neither warmth nor radio for entertainment. Number 3. Whilst on holiday in Monaco, Lady Moira found herself strolling in none other than the famed Monte Carlo casino, glass of Moet in hand, only to unwittingly step into a high-stakes poker game with a notable celebrities, only to be quickly ushered back to the commoners area. Which one is the lie?
Well, I know that you are Lady Moira, so that one's the truth.
No.
You don't reckon? I didn't know who the president of Ireland was. And I'm sure that they're not a president. I'm sure they are like a prime minister, aren't they?
Well, it depends. North or south. That's what I was
Emma.
thinking.
Stop cheating, Emma.
No. I'm going number 1.
Okay, so the lie is number one. And you said lie is number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lie is number 3.
Oh,
I should have freaking stuck with it.
Oh,
do you know that my last name actually goes back to Knight lineage? That's a story for another day.
Indubitably. Well, there you go. That is it from us and What She Said and our March book of the month, An Offer from a Gentleman. Please let us know if you have read the book, if you are excited to watch the next Netflix series, and send us your thoughts. We would love to hear them. Join us for our next month's book. Our April book of the month will be Submissive by Tara Sumi. Let us know your thoughts. I'm expecting a lot from Shonda in this next Bridgerton series. And I hope she delivers.
Me too.
On every level. Well, that's it. That's all from us. I've been your host. My name is Moira.
I'm Paige.
And I'm Emma.
And we'll see you next month for our book club edition of What She Said. Bye.